The 1984 movie, Karate Kid, is a classic that's quintessential to pop culture, from quotes such as
"Wax on, wax off,"
to the iconic disco hit known as Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas. This song was popularized, especially with the release of the movie, during the period of a film craze known as chopsaki, a term colloquially used to refer to the growing popularity of kung fu and martial arts movies between the 1960s and 1980s. Even though we assume that the original Karate Kid would be more culturally insensitive compared to the remake due to the times, however, both contain stereotypes and racially insensitive scenes throughout both Karate Kid films.
In the original film, a notable stereotype that's evident from start to finish is the character, Mr. Miyagi, a Japanese-American working as a maintenance man at the South Seas apartment complex. He's the only Asian-American character in the film. His role throughout the film fits into the sensei archetype that has remained one of the most prominent archetypes in popular culture from Pai Mei in Kill Bill Volume 2 and Uncle Iroh in Avatar: The Last Airbender. While he speaks broken English, his means to train Daniel LaRusso isn't inhibited by his language barrier.
"On, wax off."
And to top it off, he's amazing at karate. However, there are multiple scenes that demonstrate racial insensitivity towards a background character, which also happens to be the only black student in the dojo. In the scene at the Cobra Kai dojo, two students, one being the black student, engage in a sparring match, where the black student, who has a black belt, is easily knocked out by one kick, followed by a finisher to the neck. The scene that follows shows the black student tearing up after losing the sparring match. Later on in the movie, we see the student again engaging with Daniel LaRusso in a sparring match, only to be brought down again by one light kick. This set of scenes portrays a sense of hidden inferiority to the black character, especially for him to be one of the only black background characters in the film. While the dojo students appear to all be black belts, they use the black student as a punching bag. It demonstrates a sense of white superiority over the character.
I'm not trained to be merciful here. Mercy is for the weak.
For the movie to not only do this once, but twice, is an obvious form of racial insensitivity.
Regardless of all these hidden forms of insensitivity, the movie is still acclaimed and celebrated to be one of the most timeless movies of all time. However, it didn't stop there. While it was followed by sequels and a spin-off, and an official remake of the original movie transpired.
As mentioned earlier on, one would assume that after 3 decades, there's more consideration and sensitivity towards different cultures and races, especially when it comes to writing films about another culture's art form. However, the 2010 remake of Karate Kid doesn't shy away from instances of racial insensitivity. The first example shown in the movie is demonstrated through the plane ride scene with Dre and his mother Sherry, in which they are talking about learning how to speak Chinese in preparation for their new life from Detroit to China. However, when Dre attempts Mandarin to a nearby passenger who is Asian, his response back is,
"Dude, I'm from Detroit."
Later on, Dre tries to impress the movie's love interest, Mei Ying, by breakdancing. She responds by saying, "Can I touch your hair?" which initially flusters him, but allows her to do so anyway. This statement could be deemed racially insensitive due to past societal oppression and negative stigmas against natural African American hair. By asking, it conveys disrespect and fetishization to Dre's hair.
As the movie progresses, Jaden Smith's character begins to learn Kung Fu. The pivotal point of his training begins at the Great Wall of China. Master Han, the remake's Mr. Miyagi, brings him here to find more balance within himself and train a part of his mind. This scene is problematic due to the sudden implementation of this landmark. It deemed the Great Wall of China as a trivial mark for Hollywood use, rather than actual authenticity. It painted China as only important and known for the Great Wall, and dismissed other culturally important places.
Both versions of The Karate Kid failed to depict an accurate representation of Chinese and Japanese culture, martial arts, and overall Asian culture. The remake is a failed attempt at being internationally aware and conscious of culture, and falls back on Western ideologies of race.
I want to go home!
Both Karate Kids are very impressive movies, but they end up lacking racial sensitivity in the end.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. But they fought with